Jim used to work on the Mid-Sodor Railway with Sir Handel, Peter Sam, and Duke. During the dark days of Mid-Sodor's demise, sparks from his funnel ignited his train of ammunition, resulting in his tragic end. His back end was damaged immensely, which was irreparable, so he was left at one of the abandoned mines. As the years went by, the Arsdale Miniature Railway was opened on the grounds of the Mid-Sodor line, and a power station was opened to provide power for the town. However, they were in need of a boiler, so they crossed the mountain route and found Jim, now abandoned and rusty. Jim was placed between two pipes and turned into a stationary boiler. But a year went by, and the landlord of the power station had increased the rent, so they had no choice but to abandon it and build a small one in town, leaving Jim abandoned again until his discovery. Jim is now working on the Skarloey Railway, although he doesn't pull trains that often due to the design of his coupling. So the Thin Controller decided to put him on display for the people to come and see him. He could also be seen giving cab rides on the yards, but only as far as the wharf. One day, however, the Thin Controller came to see him, with a man standing beside him. "Jim, allow me to introduce to you to Mr. Christopher Heffernan. He's the curator of the Vickerstown Railway Museum." "Thank you, sir." "Jim, I've heard all about you since your discovery, and I have been making arrangements with your controller during the past few months. You are indeed what we need for our demonstration track that we've just installed a couple of months ago with some rolling stock that we've restored from the old railway. Are you willing to join us? We have coal and water to provide you, as well as the best workmen we got to repair you in case anything goes wrong." "Just wondering, sir, what is a railway museum?" "A railway museum is an institution filled with many historical locomotives and rolling stock. It's a place where people come and witness the history of our railways with working engines on show." "Well, I suppose I'll be happy to join." "Splendid. I'll make arrangements with the Fat Controller to send one of his engines to transfer you there by rail." As the Thin Controller and the curator left, Jim scowled at the idea. "Transferred by those standard gauge monsters? What a disgrace! You were sent here by James on standard gauge track last year, remember? I was only holding back my anger as I wanted to get to my new home." Jim hated the Northwestern Railway, but no one knew why. He kept it quiet for nearly a whole year. They tried asking him, but not a word came out of his mouth. One rainy day, Edward arrived with some empty trucks. He used to deliver some slate for the roof at Wellsworth Station. As he shunted the trucks into place, he noticed Jim pulling back into the shed on one of his cab rides. "Hello there. You must be the discovered engine Jim." Jim said nothing. He just looked at Edward crossly and simmered angrily. "Oh, is anything the matter?" Still nothing. Then Skarloey arrived with trucks full of slate. Jim looked towards him and said, "Are you mad? Why are you giving him our slate? He's a standard gauge monster." Edward was shocked to hear such words. Scarlowy looked at him offended. Then Duke said, "All right, Jim, I've had it with you. I've kept quiet about this since I do respect your feelings. But it's nearly been a whole year. I think you owe these engines an explanation on why you hit the Northwestern Railway." All right, I'll tell you. But I'm only doing this since you've asked. It goes way back to 1923. Jim was waiting at one of the stations along the Mid-Sodor Railway. The railway had been running well over the years, and Jim was very happy about it. His driver went to the station to purchase a newspaper, but what he saw was about to change the future of the Mid-Sodor Railway for good. "This is outrageous!" "What is?" asked Jim. "That blasted aluminium company had agreed with the Northwestern Railway to build a new branch line for Peel Godred through the mountains. If they get the council to agree to this, this could be the end of our railway." "Oh no," replied Jim. Then the telephone rang in the station master's office. He then walked towards Jim and his crew and said, "Manager says that after you take this train, you must head back to the main station for an emergency meeting." "Right." But as Jim departed the station, he felt angry and worried about his future. At the main station, the manager made his speech. "I'm sure you've heard the news. Don't worry. We will be holding a discussion with the council later on with the two companies and the community who are in support of this railway." The engines put on a face of hopefulness, but some remained in doubt. But despite that the railway workers were putting out petitions, protesting, and one of the railway crew members had even staged a derailment to bring the attention to the higher-ups. However, that had caused the engines' demise. But it was no use. The council had given the approval of the new line. The mayor and the manager came to see the little engines at the sheds. "Engines, I'm sure that you're all upset over the idea of the new Northwestern Railway link. It was a hard decision for me, and I know that your line could face some hard times. Despite that the walk here and Owlsborough are convenient, the digging of the new cutting is just uneconomical for us," said the mayor. The engines knew he was right, except for Jim. "That blasted railway!" he snapped. "The passengers will soon realize that our narrow gauge is much better. Our voices were not heard by you, and you were in favor of those standard gauge monsters. That decision has been made. I'm sorry. Getting cross would not get anything out of it." But as time went on, despite the protesting, the passenger traffic had decreased disastrously until there was only a few passengers to collect. The mountain section was then closed 13 years later, with carriages and engines sold to keep the line running, and passenger traffic went back to their humbling beginning as a tram line. The war years helped them a bit, but afterwards, with one of the mines flooded, it was all downhill, and the Mid-Sodor Railway was closed for good, with Falcon, Sahandel, pulling the last train. Thanks to you lot, I was taken to an electric company near Owlsborough to become a stationary boiler until they moved away to a new location, and I was abandoned again until I came here. But I didn't make that decision. None of us did. We're engines, not executives. You even mentioned the reason in the story. I don't care. You standard gauge monsters took our passengers away and closed down our line. However, I have a feeling what the real reason was on why it was closed. Your railway was out to take our railway down. This line hasn't been closed yet, and you even helped them out while our railway was taken down? Rubbish! Our railway would never do such a thing. As the mayor said in your story, the cutting was uneconomical, said Edward crossly. Absolute rubbish! And Jim steamed away, leaving behind some very cross engines. My apologies, Edward, said Duke sadly. It's all right, Duke. It wasn't your fault, said Edward calmly. Next day, Jim pulled out of the shed and into the yards, ready for another day of cab rides. Duke was the last out of his shed, and he talked to Jim severely. That was very irresponsible of you, Jim. What was? Edward was right about two things. One, neither he or the other engines of the Northwestern Railway made that decision to build the Peel Godred line. And two, as the mayor said, when they made that decision, getting angry won't get anything out of it. The Northwestern Railway had done wonders for us when it comes to freight and passengers. They even brought passengers to see you. And he puffed away to collect his coaches. Jim just huffed. The Thin Controller came to see him after hearing about yesterday's dispute. If you still behave like this, then you won't be going to the Railway Museum at all. As he was still angry over the Northwestern Railway, his driver was trying to apply the brakes, but the lever wouldn't budge. His crew and an enthusiast jumped out of the cab, but Jim, still ranting in his mind, didn't know until he saw the edge coming closer. "Oh no!" he cried. He fell off the tracks and plunged straight onto the standard gauge tracks. Then he could hear Gordon pulling out of the station. "Oh no! Help! Somebody please!" Luckily, Gordon was going slow, and he stopped just in time. "Are you okay?" Yes. Thank you." Then he noticed he was far away from the wharf and called out for help. "Our breakdown crane is too small to reach you, Jim," cried Peter Sam. "We have to call one of the standard gauge engines to help." The only engine available was Edward. In no time at all, Jim was placed back onto the track and is being checked for any damage. "I hope you're alright." "I am. And thank you." "Thank me? But I thought you hate standard gauge engines." "Well, I suppose you standard gauge engines do have your uses. You bring many passengers to this railway to keep them going, and to even see me. Maybe I should try and get over my hatred. It'll take time, but gradually, I think I will get over it. I'm also sorry for thinking that your railway was out to take down the Mid-Sodor line. I was just jealous that this one is still running. It's all right, and I do accept your apology." "That was very thoughtful of you, Jim," said the Thin Controller. "While yes, it will take time to get over something for years, at least you're willing to move on. So tomorrow, it's off to the Railway Museum for you." "Thank you, sir." The next day, Jim was ready to head for his new home over in Vickerstown. Engines large and small came to wish him their farewells. "Farewell, Jim," said Duke. "Enjoy your new life at Vickerstown. Make sure you carry on the spirit of the Mid-Sodor Railway." I willed you. And thank you everyone for putting up with his old engine's rotten attitude this past year. It's been a dream come true to be running again and even seeing some old faces. I hope I'll get to see you all again soon.